By the late 1950s, Britain's small family cars all followed a fairly predictable formula. Whether you chose a Morris Minor 1000, an Austin A40 Farina, a Standard 10, or even Ford's own Anglia 105E, they all looked broadly similar. The roof swept gently down towards the boot. The rear window followed that same angle, and very few manufacturers were interested in experimenting with something as fundamental as the shape of the body. Family cars were expected to be practical, inexpensive, and, above all, conventional. Then, in October 1959, Ford introduced the Anglia 105E, and almost overnight, people stopped talking about its new engine and started talking about its rear window. At first glance, the glass appeared to be fitted back to front. Instead of leaning backwards like almost every other saloon on British roads, it leaned forwards towards the boot. Even today, many people assume Ford did it simply because the company wanted the Anglia to stand out in a crowded market. That's a reasonable conclusion, because the car certainly attracted attention. But styling wasn't really the reason. In fact, if Ford had simply wanted a fashionable-looking family saloon, there were much easier ways of achieving it than redesigning the entire rear section of the roof. To understand why the engineers chose such an unusual solution, it's worth looking at the problem they were trying to solve. British motorists wanted more space inside their cars than ever before. Families were traveling longer distances, holidays by car were becoming increasingly common, and people expected a small saloon to carry 4 adults without feeling cramped. The obvious solution would have been to make the Anglia larger, but that created another problem. Britain's roads were still narrow, garages hadn't suddenly become bigger, and a larger body would have increased both weight and manufacturing costs. Ford needed to find extra space without making the car noticeably larger. The engineers eventually realized the roof itself offered the answer. On most family saloons, the roof began sloping down almost immediately after the rear doors, which meant the passengers sitting in the back gradually lost headroom. Instead of following that convention, Ford extended the roof much further towards the rear before introducing the back window. It doesn't sound particularly revolutionary, but that small change created noticeably more space above the rear seat, while allowing the overall height of the car to remain almost unchanged. Of course, once the roof continued further backwards, a conventional rear window was no longer really an option. If the glass had followed the same downward angle used by other manufacturers, it would have cut straight through the extra space Ford had just created. Tilting the window forwards solved the problem neatly. Rear passengers gained valuable headroom, the roof retained its clean proportions, and the Anglia remained compact enough for everyday British driving. The unusual appearance was really just a byproduct of a practical engineering decision, although it quickly became the feature everyone remembered. That naturally raises another question. If the window wasn't designed to improve styling, was it at least intended to improve aerodynamics, as so many people still believe today? That idea has followed the Anglia for decades, and it's easy to understand why. A rear window leaning forwards certainly looks as though it ought to have some aerodynamic advantage. Even today, you'll often hear people describe the Anglia as being ahead of its time because of the way air supposedly flowed over the back of the car. The trouble is that when you look at the rest of the 105E, that explanation begins to fall apart rather quickly. If Ford's engineers had genuinely been chasing aerodynamic efficiency, they would almost certainly have started elsewhere. The Anglia had a nearly upright front grille, a fairly upright windscreen, exposed rain gutters running along the roof, and external door handles projecting into the airflow. All of those features created far more drag than the angle of the rear window ever could. During the late 1950s, Ford of Britain was far more concerned with building an economical, practical family car than chasing a particularly low drag coefficient. Wind tunnel testing certainly existed, but it wasn't a priority for an affordable 1-litre saloon. That doesn't mean the unusual window had no effect on airflow. Quite the opposite. It simply produced a different benefit from the one people usually imagine. As air traveled over the extended roof, it tended to pass over the rear glass rather than forcing road spray directly against it. A small, low-pressure area formed behind the roof, and under many driving conditions that helped keep the rear window cleaner than the glass fitted to more conventional family cars. That might not sound especially important today, but it's worth remembering that rear window wipers simply weren't fitted to ordinary British saloons during the early 1960s. Once the rear window became covered in spray or road grime, drivers had very little they could do about it until the next stop. The Anglia didn't completely eliminate the problem, particularly during heavy rain, but many owners noticed that visibility through the rear window remained acceptable for longer than they expected. It was one of those unexpected advantages that Ford never really advertised, yet it became something owners appreciated after thousands of miles on British roads. The reverse-rake design also influenced another practical area of the car that often goes unnoticed. Because the rear glass leaned forwards instead of backwards, the boot opening could extend much higher into the body. That made loading luggage considerably easier than the Anglia's compact dimensions might suggest. Families heading for a holiday, shopkeepers carrying stock, or anyone loading bulky parcels benefited from the wider opening, even though the overall luggage capacity remained much the same as many competitors. Interestingly, none of these practical advantages would have meant very much if the rest of the Anglia had still been based on the old 100E. Fortunately, it wasn't. Beneath that distinctive body sat an entirely new car, and in many respects, its most important engineering development wasn't the unusual rear window at all. It was the little engine sitting under the bonnet, an engine that would go on to become one of the most successful power plants Ford ever built. That engine was Ford's new 997 cubic centimeters overhead valve Kent unit, and in many respects, it was just as important as the reverse-rake rear window. The outgoing Anglia relied on an aging side valve engine that had served faithfully for many years, but by the end of the 1950s, it was becoming difficult to ignore how far engine design had progressed. Overhead valve engines were producing more power, using less fuel, and coping far better with the higher cruising speeds that Britain's expanding road network demanded. Ford's answer was an entirely new power plant, producing around 39 brake horsepower. And although that figure sounds modest today, it transformed the way a small Ford drove. Just as importantly, the Kent engine arrived alongside a fully synchronized 4-speed gearbox on the upper 3 gears, making the Anglia feel considerably more refined than its predecessor. Contemporary road tests frequently commented on how willing the engine felt and how comfortably the car would maintain modern traffic speeds. Owners soon discovered another advantage. The Kent engine proved exceptionally durable, responding well to regular servicing and often covering well over 100,000 miles before requiring mega-mechanical work. That reputation would only grow stronger as larger versions of the same engine appeared in countless Ford models during the following decades. The rest of the chassis was equally modern for an inexpensive British family car. Independent McPherson strut front suspension gave the Anglia predictable handling, while the simple live rear axle remained robust enough to cope with Britain's often uneven roads. The steering was light, visibility was excellent, and, thanks partly to the relatively low weight of the new monocoque body, the little Ford felt surprisingly eager to drive. It wasn't intended to be a sports car, but many owners found it far more enjoyable than its modest performance figures suggested. The Anglia soon became a favorite in British club motorsport. Its lightweight body and dependable Kent engine made it an ideal platform for rallying and circuit racing, while the distinctive reverse-rake rear window ensured it remained instantly recognizable, no matter how extensively it was modified. When production ended in 1967, more than 1 million Anglias had been built. Although Ford abandoned the reverse-rake design with the arrival of the Escort, the 105E had already secured its place in automotive history. More than 60 years later, it remains one of Britain's most recognizable family cars, not because it looked different, but because its unconventional engineering solved real-world problems.